Welcome to Crafts with Lucine. We're going to make a flip-flap mini album page today. Okay, so with no interruptions, let's get started. Now this one is in the Cricut community and it is sized for an 8.5 by 8.5 album page. But if you select all, you can push it in and resize it to anything you want. This is an example of a slightly bigger one. You can make a smaller one for a card, anything you want. Okay, so here we go. We're going to put one together. And I'm going to start with this 8 1/4 square piece of patterned cardstock, and I'm going to glue it into what would be the album page, and I'm going to just go ahead and use that as my base. And I'm going to take my 2 frames, and I'm going to actually just put one together, but this flip-flap page needs 2. And then for each flip-flap section, you need 2 of the panels. Of course, I've got 4 because I'm doing 2. You need a back piece, which is the exact same size as the outside of your frame. And we're going to put it together. A little aside here, I'm using 65-pound cardstock for my flip-flap pieces. Don't go much heavier than 80 because it makes your flip-flap pieces too heavy and too hard to get a crisp fold. You'll also notice that there's tiny little pieces hanging off the edge here. It's because I double cut it there so that the pieces wouldn't run into each other. Just kind of tear those off. All right, now let's fold our pieces back. And you want to fold the long piece right up to where it is cut. And make sure your edges are exactly even on the outside. You want your outside edges to be matching. Then fold the little piece in right to the edge of the cut, which is actually going to fold right there. And you want that edge to be right up against the outside edge too. So fold all of those and you'll be ready to start gluing them in. And it's going to be very simple. So get 2 of your flip-flaps ready. You need your back and 1 of your frame pieces. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put some red liner tape or some glue on the little flip-flap corners, and we're going to make sure that that square fits exactly inside the frame. You want it right smack inside with just a hair around all the edges. You don't want any more than that. It should fit perfectly inside. And once you're sure of that, then you're going to put glue or red liner tape on the little flip-flap edges. Okay? And we're going to glue those down. There's my glue. And I'm using Art Glitter brand glue, and I'm going to put glue on the flip-flap, the long side, and then I'm just going to glue it down. Make sure the outside edge is what is matching. Okay? And you can see why I double split it there. That gives just a tiny hair space in between so that the edges don't get all mixed up. All right, so do that to both pieces. You want them going in the same direction. So your first piece, you should have had your folds toward the middle piece. And now this one is going away from the middle piece. There will be a tiny, tiny little space in between the two, but this one should fit right inside the hole as well. So once you get that hole in there, once you get that piece in the hole exactly even, then you're going to glue that one in exactly the same way. So just a little glue, or like I said, red liner tape works fine too. It's got to be pretty strong, so you want that. I use our glitter brand glue because it dries like in 10 seconds, and I can make sure my flip-flap card is working immediately. So push that down, give it a second to dry. Now you're going to push those 4 little tabs that are left nice and flat, because we are going to glue those to the back piece. So once you have those scored down nice and tight, you're going to put glue on all 4 of those. So, or tape, yes. You don't want it sticking out though, so be very careful. You don't want to glue any of your pieces in the wrong place. Now we're going to take the back and we're going to put it right smack dab on top of those pieces, and you want to even that out exactly even with the front frame. They're the exact same size on your outside dimensions, so it should be pretty easy to do. Just lay it flat, turn it over if you need to, adjust it until it is exactly square, and then push them down and get them where they're nice and flat. Wasn't that easy? It was easy. Easy, easy, easy. All right, the Pattern and Design Space has panels for you to decorate the frame with, but if you want, you can just double up the frame. You do need to do one or the other, either add panels or add an extra frame, because you need it to be a little bit stronger than the rest of the project. Now, if you wanted to use 110 weight cardstock just for the frame, you could do that. But this particular one, I am going to add panels to it. And here we go. We're going to add panels right now. Okay, no, we're not. I forgot we needed the little tab pull so that you could pull your panels up and down. So I'm going to glue just the little edge of the tab right under the side of the panel that needs to be pulled on. So a little glue, slide it under there, all the way under, and press it down. And this gives you the edge, the free edge that you're going to be pulled on. The back of your piece will be glued down onto your page, and so you want to make sure that that front goes on the side that you're going to be pulling on. Just like that. Okay, now we're going to add the panels to our frame. All right, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Unfortunately, my program only lets me speed it up ×2, so I'm going to do that. And remember, if you want to just make another frame instead of your panels, you would just glue that right on top. It can be the same cardstock, or you can use a pretty cardstock. It's not at the bottom frame part isn't going to show at all, so it doesn't really matter if it matches or not. And again, or you could just make the whole frame out of 110 cardstock if you just want it to be a little heavier. In fact, you can do it out of 110 cardstock and still add panels if you want to and make it pretty. All right, so we've got that done, and there we go. Look, isn't it gorgeous? So if you're adding to your scrapbook page, go ahead and put your other one together, and we're not going to sit here and do that, so just put it together. All right, now that you've got your two pieces cut together, I'm going to go ahead and mat my little photo squares. You don't have to do that. If your photo's going to take up the whole square, you're just going to be wasting paper to mat it. But I don't know. I like to mat things, and a lot of times I just use little tiny photos or decorations in some of those spots. So I'm going to add mats. They are part of the design in the Design Space Cricut. So if you don't want to cut them, just don't. So I'm going to glue those in. I'm going to put one on the front and one on the back of each panel. And there is a space underneath on the side if you want to make another one and add a panel to that too. So I'm just going to glue the panels in here real quick. While I'm doing this really boring stuff of gluing these panels in, let me say that this particular design that's in Cricut Community is strictly made out of just shapes. So if you do not have access, you should still be able to cut it completely free. It's absolutely nothing but squares and half circles. So it's there. Unless you add extra designs, there should be no cost to pay, no cost at all to cut this out. Okay, here is another one that I've made, and it's been glued down to the page, and you pull it up and it brings it right there. And you can see there's an extra panel underneath it that would be great for a photo. So you can do that, and it'll hold, let's see, 8, 9, 10 photos. I don't usually put one underneath the area where it's there, but then I always put one right there on the side, because that's going to give you that extra photo, and it's just wasted space if you don't. So it's a good place to put it. Okay, so that's glued in, and it's ready to go. Now you can see I have missed a piece of the mat over there on the bottom, and I'm going to cut another one, but I have absolutely no idea where it went to, so I'm not going to worry about it right now. Now you glue your two pieces down onto your 8 1/4 by 8 1/4 inch page. Make sure your flaps are inside the page, because you don't want it to get caught on anything. So glue those down. The entire back is going to be glued down. So make sure you don't get glue on your flap though. Once you get those two flip flap pieces glued down to your 8 1/4 inch panel, then that panel is totally ready to glue into your scrapbook. Now make sure when you glue it into your scrapbook that your tabs are facing out or down or up. You don't want them facing to the inside of your scrapbook page because then it's going to be really hard to open. Okay, so enjoy. And remember, if you want a different size, select all on your Cricut design page and just pull it in at the corner, in or out, to make it bigger or smaller. If you select all, everything will resize together at the same time and everything will still fit. All right, I hope you enjoy this and I hope you make some, and I'd love to see them. My Facebook page is Lucine's Crafts, so join me and have a great day. Bye. So apparently I lied. The title of the Facebook pages are Crafts with Lucine, and the other one is Scrapbook Fun, Free Stuff, and Conversation. So join those if you want links to the Cricut things. And there's a few other things too, like I do some free digital background pages and stuff like that. So please join us and have a good day. Bye. I also have I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 blogs. These are 2 of the craft blogs that I have. One is pretty much just scrapbook things. The other one is lots of cards and all kinds of different crafts. If you're interested, take a peek. I admit I haven't kept up with them very well since my husband died, but I'm getting really back into it. And there's some really good old stuff, but there'll be new stuff coming up pretty soon. So take a peek if you're interested. All right, that's it. Bye for now.